You ever come off the water with three buddies, and every single one of you hauled in something different? One's got a catfish, one's got a carp he almost threw back, one's got a walleye he's bragging about like he invented fishing. And now you're standing there wondering how in the world you turn that mess of a cooler into a meal everybody actually wants to eat. I've been in that exact spot more times than I can count, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. No kitchen, no oven, nothing but a fire, a pan, and what you packed in. Here's the thing most folks get wrong. They think a good camp meal means throwing whatever you caught straight on the coals and hoping for the best. That's how you end up with dry, muddy-tasting fish and a table nobody's excited about. The truth is, every fish you pull out of that lake wants to be treated a little different. Catfish wants to be tamed. Carp wants to be cleaned up. Walleye just wants to be left alone and let its own flavor do the talking. Once you understand that, cooking a mixed catch by the fire isn't complicated at all. It's actually one of the best parts of the whole trip. Let's start with catfish, because if you've got one in that cooler, it's probably the star of the show. Catfish meat is thick, it's got good fat in it, and that fat is exactly why it can turn out heavy or even a little muddy tasting if you don't handle it right. The fix is simple. You marinate it. Olive oil, fresh lemon juice, black pepper, a little thyme, and smashed garlic. Rub that all over your fillets and let them sit for at least 2 hours before the fire's even lit. I know that feels like a long wait when you're hungry and the sun's going down, but that time is doing real work. The acid in the lemon is breaking down some of that heaviness in the meat, and the oil is carrying the garlic and thyme deep into the fillet instead of just sitting on top of it. Skip that step and you'll taste the difference, I promise you that. When it's time to cook, you don't want low heat and you don't want to walk away from it. Catfish needs a hot pan or a hot section of the grate, and it needs to cook fast. If you've got a portable propane stove, get that pan good and hot before the fillet ever touches it. If you're working straight off the coals, push your fillets to the hottest part of the fire, not the edges. The reason is simple. Catfish has enough natural moisture and fat that a slow cook will dry it out and toughen it up before it ever gets done in the middle. Hot and quick locks in what makes catfish good in the first place. You're looking for that fillet to go from translucent to opaque, flaking easy with a fork, usually in just a handful of minutes depending on thickness. Don't guess on time, watch the fish. Now, carp is a different animal entirely, and I know some of you have got opinions about carp. I get it, but a carp handled right, fresh off the lake, can honestly surprise you. The reason carp gets a bad reputation is that it's a bottom feeder, and that means the meat can carry a muddy taste if you don't deal with it before it ever hits the fire. So here's your first move. Soak your carp fillets in water with a good amount of vinegar mixed in. Let that sit for a while before you do anything else. That vinegar bath pulls out a lot of that earthy, muddy flavor that people associate with carp and don't like. Don't skip it thinking you'll save time. That step is the difference between a carp dinner people ask for again and a carp dinner people quietly avoid next trip. Once that carp has had its vinegar soak, the best way to bring out real flavor without an oven is a foil packet right in the coals. Lay your fillet on a good double layer of heavy foil, top it with sliced tomato, sliced onion, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and a drizzle of olive oil. Fold that foil up tight so no steam escapes, and set it right down in the coals at the edge of the fire, not directly in the hottest flame. Here's the why behind that. Carp benefits from a slower, steamier cook. That tomato and onion are releasing moisture as they cook, and trapped inside that foil, that moisture bastes the fish the whole time, carrying off any last bit of that heavy taste and leaving you with something tender and genuinely good. Give it a solid stretch of time on the coals, checking that the fish flakes easy before you call it done. Then there's walleye, and if one of you landed one of these, honestly, you got the easy job. Walleye is one of those fish that doesn't need a lot of dressing up. The meat is mild, it's got very few bones once you fillet it right, and it takes to almost any cooking method you throw at it. For a camp setting, my favorite is simple. Dust your fillets light in flour, salt and pepper, and pan-fry them in a little oil over medium heat on your camp stove or a flat rock set near the coals if that's all you've got. The reason you want medium heat here and not screaming hot like the catfish, walleye is a leaner, more delicate fish, and blasting it with high heat will toughen that tender meat before it ever gets a chance to cook through properly. A light golden crust on the outside, flaking white and clean on the inside, that's your signal it's ready. If you want to switch it up, walleye also does great whole, wrapped in foil with lemon and a little butter if you packed it, set at the edge of the fire the same way as the carp, just for less time since the fillets are usually thinner. That's your 3 fish handled, but a real lakeside feast isn't complete without something fresh sitting next to all that fish, and this is where a lot of guys drop the ball. You don't need anything fancy. A simple cucumber and tomato salad, sliced thin, tossed with a little olive oil, salt, and a splash of vinegar, takes 5 minutes and holds up fine in a cooler until you're ready to eat. If you want something with a little more bite, thin sliced red onion and fresh parsley mixed in does wonders, cutting through the richness of that catfish especially. The reason this matters more than people think, after a full day on the water eating jerky and trail mix, your body wants something bright and fresh, not just heavy fried fish on fried fish. That little bit of acid and crunch on the side makes the whole meal feel complete, instead of like you just ate a brick. I'll tell you, a few years back I was out on a lake in Arkansas with a couple buddies of mine, and between the 3 of us we came back with a catfish, a decent carp, and 1 walleye that Mike wouldn't stop talking about. None of us had planned that mix, it just happened that way. We almost didn't bother cooking the carp at all, figured we'd just eat the other 2 and call it a day. Glad we didn't, because that foil packet carp with the tomato and onion ended up being the thing everybody wanted seconds of. Funny how the fish you almost throw back turns out to be the one that surprises you. Here's something worth remembering too, and it's not really about cooking. It's about the whole reason this kind of trip works. Nobody out there caught the same fish. Nobody had the same luck. But every single one of you contributes something to that table, and that's honestly what makes a group fishing trip better than fishing alone. You're not just splitting a meal, you're building one together, out of whatever the lake decided to give each of you that day. That's worth slowing down and appreciating, even if you're just standing around a fire with a paper plate in your hand. Now I want to hear from you. Next time you're out with a group and everybody comes back with something different, what's the strangest or best combination you ever ended up cooking together by the fire? Tell me down in the comments. I read every one of them, and I'm always looking for new combinations to try myself. Before you head out on your next trip, remember the fire's not your enemy here, it's just a different tool than what you're used to in the kitchen. Respect what each fish needs, give it the time it's asking for, and you'll walk away from that lake with more than just a good catch. You'll walk away with a meal that everybody remembers, and honestly, that's half the reason we go out there in the first place. Tight lines, and I'll see you on the water.